Republican Senator Marco Rubio is now signing on to that bill of Lindsey Grahams that would ban abortions nationwide after 15 weeks, throwing support behind a measure that he says and the party hopes will more align Republicans with the present-day views on Roe v. Wade, and again, fearing that maybe in the backdrop for this, that this would cost some Republicans some crucial seats. That way too early to say the political implications of all of that, but this moderating that position on abortion might be a sign of things to come. Steve Forbes, the Forbes Media CEO, on that and all these cross-current developments. You know, Steve, I know I just threw you this curve here on this latest development where Republicans are trying to find a middle ground on the abortion issue, not only returning it to states where some go even further, others, you know, moderate their positions, but to take it out of the debate, 8 weeks ahead of the elections. It probably is too late for that, but what do you make of this?
It is too late, and already Nancy Pelosi has made the bill sound like it's a complete ban. So the demagoguery level is just going to go up. And it also goes against Republican philosophy on this issue, and that is leave it to the states, leave it to locality to decide what kind of laws they want in this very sensitive area instead of one size fits all. Because after all, the Democrats have a bill that would go in the exact opposite direction. So take that out of Washington and return it to we the people to make decisions meeting our own values in various states around the country.
Yeah, I kind of had the same reaction, Steve, so you should probably run the other way, that this just kept the debate going, right? I mean, just when that was simmering down amidst the inflation report, it's like the Republicans robbed of a chance now to show Democrats as the party that can't shoot straight or has a tin ear, and then they resurrect this whole abortion thing. The implications of that could be profound, right?
Yes, and this is an issue where local candidates can deal with it. In my section of the country, Republicans are generally pro-choice. And so, okay, that's what you run on in a local election. Instead of this, now candidates are going to have to run defending or attacking this national approach. Leave it to the people. Trust the people to make this sensitive decision. That's what they should say. And then get onto the issue. Have you been to the grocery store recently?
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right about that. I thought you were asking me particularly. I live there, by the way, Steve. But let me ask you a little bit about this tin ear argument against the president. And it's happened again and again. You could even argue his trip to Detroit today to promote electric vehicles at a time. Those vehicles are very expensive. Everything's very expensive. The day after celebrating the so-called Inflation Reduction Act, when it's not reducing, 2 days after the Vice President of the United States says the border's secure. This is building, and I can't imagine it's not adding some frustration in Democratic circles, or maybe they just feel this is galvanizing the base, but even prior Democratic presidents wouldn't do that kind of thing. And I'm just wondering why this one keeps doing it.
I think part of it is because the far left of the party is still calling the tune, and they actually believe that they can tell people that prices aren't really going up, things are getting better, electric cars are not that expensive, and on and on and on. And those
but people aren't stupid, Steve. They go to the grocery store.
Right.
They're realizing the long delays in getting an auto vehicle and paying through the nose when you do. So it almost insults them.
It does, and that's why the president's trust factor is so low, and that's why I think the Democrats are in trouble in November. People see the difference. You know, the state of Washington, Patty Murray, long-time senator, is only a couple of points ahead of the Republican on the issue of local control of the schools. As you know, Seattle school teachers went on strike. So people see what's happening. They feel the country is falling apart. They don't like the direction of the country. And these people really believe if you spin it, people will actually believe it. And so that's why they want to run against Donald Trump. That's why they want to run on the abortion issue. They don't want the issues that Washington can make a real difference on, which is inflation, which is having an economic policy that encourages natural gas production and oil leases instead of new regulations coming out of the Interior Department, which is going to block the development of these leases.
Steve, I'm just curious, just as a Republican conservative thinker and all-around very smart guy, are you concerned that the Republicans aren't unified on this economic message, whether it's the fixation on whether it was fair or not to raid Donald Trump's home? I understand their passions. I understand the passions of both sides. But that even now extends to trying to once again resurrect this abortion issue and nationalize a policy. I'm just wondering if every second spent on those issues is another vital moment robbed of explaining the winnable ones for Republicans.
Oh, absolutely. People want to go to the future, and they want to have issues discussed that where Washington can make a huge difference. The Federal Reserve, for example, believes that the only way it can conquer inflation is by making people poorer. The federal government is raising taxes instead of cutting taxes, hurting the production of oil and gas at a time when Europe's going to be desperately in need of it this winter and going into the future. So people want real issues. Crime, where's the discussion on that? So stick to issues that matter to people where government can make a real difference.
You know, Steve, you were so kind to go and respond to these breaking news developments, but I did want to ask you about the thinking now that propelled yesterday's huge sell-off that the Federal Reserve is going to aggressively raise rates a lot longer, maybe a lot higher than we thought. There's some betting about the third of those investors betting with money on this subject think the Fed could raise rates a full percentage point next week, not just 3/4 of a point. Where are you on this in terms of what do you think happens?
I think they'll still stick with the 75 basis points. The Federal Reserve is very good at letting journalists know and others know what direction they're thinking in. So if they were going to make a change to 100 basis points, I think they'd have started to make the quiet behind the scenes signals now. So I think they'll do 75, but that gets to the whole question. Why are they aggressively raising interest rates? Why not let the market set interest rates already? The 30-year mortgage, because of what the Fed has done, is 6.5%.
Yeah.
That is killing the housing sector.
Well, good points all. Steve, you'd be interested in knowing, I also think it's going to be a 75 basis point climb. So this, like that abortion issue, you better run the other way. But always good seeing you, Steve Forbes.
Good to see you. Thank you, Neil.
All right.